Hello, my friend, and welcome. Before we begin tonight, I invite you to prepare your space for rest. Find a position that feels soft and comfortable. If you can, dim the lights or turn them off completely, so that the only glow you notice is a calm glow from your screen or the sound of my voice. I would love it if you could share in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is right now. It amazes me to think that this video can travel across oceans and time zones, reaching people in all corners of the world. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel grow and ensures that more people can discover a place of rest, just like you have. My greatest wish is that you won't hear this video all the way through, because somewhere along the way, you'll drift into deep and restful sleep. That's the outcome I hope for every time. And if there's a particular subject or theme you'd like me to cover in future videos, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. Your suggestions mean so much. Allow yourself to relax, and let's begin. You sit in the stillness of night. The flickering light of a dozen oil lamps casting golden shadows against the fabric walls of your tent. Outside, the desert air hums with distant winds, the silence broken only by the occasional neigh of a restless horse. This is not Alexandria, not the marble palaces of your childhood, not the sacred halls where the Ptolemies once ruled like living gods. This is exile, dust, canvas, and whispers of defeat. You were once queen beside your brother, Ptolemy, a child in years, but not without ambition. Coached by his advisors, who sought power through him, they turned the court against you. You remember the decree, sharp and cold as a dagger. Cleopatra is banished from the palace. You left Alexandria with only those still loyal to you. Servants, a handful of soldiers, a trusted advisor or two. Others bent the knee to your brother, not because they loved him, but because he was convenient. And so here you are, 21 years old, robbed of throne and home, reduced to a camp by the Nile. Yet even in this disgrace, you do not feel broken. I was not born to vanish into the sands, you tell yourself. I was born to rule, to restore Egypt to greatness. The tent flap steers. Two handmaidens enter, silent but purposeful. They carry bronze basins of heated water, jars of perfumed oils, folded linen. At a gesture from Apollodorus, your loyal Sicilian ally, they begin the preparations. Tonight, it's no ordinary night. Tonight, you gamble everything. You sink into the basin. Warm water lapping over your skin. The scent of myrrh and lotus rises, wrapping you in memory. The scent of Alexandria's temples, of offerings made to Isis, the goddess you so often invoked as your protector. The handmaidens wash you slowly, deliberately, as if cleansing away not only dust, but disgrace itself. One scrubs your arms and shoulders with pumice. Another smooths perfumed oil into your hair. Ptolemy thinks me beaten. He thinks a woman's place is silence. He forgets that my blood is the blood of pharaohs. He forgets that Isis herself has walked this land, and Isis does not yield. They trim your nails, comb your hair until it shines, and weave in threads of gold. A fine linen gown awaits you, sheer, light, clinging. Every fold, every thread chosen not merely to adorn you, but to transform you into something unforgettable. You know this isn't vanity. It is armor, as sharp as any blade. Your mind turns. You have heard the rumors. Julius Caesar has come, the Roman general who has defeated Pompey, the man whose legions decide the fate of kings. He has made camp in Alexandria, and already he holds your brother in his hand. To him, you are an inconvenience at best, an exile at worst, unless you can show him otherwise. But how? You cannot march an army before him. You have no soldiers left to command. What you have is wit, beauty, and daring. And so you will risk everything on this one gambit. Apollodorus had whispered the plan only hours ago. We shall smuggle you to him, hidden in a rug, carried like tribute. When you are unrolled before him, he will see not a fugitive, but a queen bold enough to risk her life to stand in his presence. The idea had shocked you at first. Rolled in a rug, like concert band? But the more you thought on it, the more it seemed like destiny. If Caesar had the mind of a conqueror, he will respect audacity. And if he has the heart of a man, he will not forget the vision revealed before him. As the handmaidens drape the gown over you, cool linen, whispering against your skin, you study your reflection in the polished, bronze mirror. The face that stares back is not that of an exile. It is the face of a queen in waiting. Your coal-lined eyes gleam with fire. Your lips, painted with crushed carmine, shimmer like blood. Still, doubts gnaw at you. What if Caesar dismisses you? What if he laughs? Or worse, turns you over to Ptolemy. What if this night ends with your name erased from memory? You close your eyes, gripping the arm of the stool as one of the women adjusts your necklace of lapis and gold. No, you will not let fear master you. You whisper to yourself, silent this breath. This is not seduction. This is survival. This is power. This is my throne waiting to be reclaimed. The tent is hushed, except for the rustle of linen, the trickle of oil, the faint hiss of a lamp. You feel every moment stretching like eternity. And then, at last, Apollodorus steps in. His voice is calm, but urgent. It is time. You rise, the gown clinging to you like mist, your heart pounding against your ribs. You are no longer an exile in a tent. You are Cleopatra, daughter of the Nile, who will face the Lion of Rome, not with fear, but with fire. And tonight, you will place your fate in his hands, wrapped in linen, bound in daring, and carried into the heart of destiny. The tent is quieter now. The handmaidens have finished their work, leaving behind the lingering fragrance of lotus oil and smoke from the lamps. Your skin gleamed in the lamplight, your hair coiled into braids threaded with gold, your gown light as river mist. But still you sit rigid, hands pressed to your knees, heart drumming in your chest. The weight of what you are about to attempt presses upon you like a millstone. Across from you, Apollodorus kneels, his weathered hands steady, his eyes locked on yours. He has been more than a guard. He has been your shield, your confidant, perhaps even your last tether to sanity during these long months of exile. Tonight, he offers you something more, a way back to your throne. You understand what this means, my queen, he murmurs. His Greek accent thickens with urgency. Once we enter the palace, there is no turning back. If Caesar rejects you, your enemies will ensure you never live alive. I understand. You reply. Your voice low, but unwavering. The words taste of iron, like blood in the mouth. But if I do nothing, I will fade into the desert like dust. I would rather gamble my life on one night of boldness than die quietly in obscurity. Apollodorus studies you for a long moment, then nods. He produces a folded roll of carpet, rich thick, woven with Egyptian patterns in crimson and indigo. "This will be your chariot," he says grimly. You cannot help the small laugh that escapes you. The Queen of Egypt reduced a bundle of cloth. Not reduced, he corrects softly. Concealed, hidden like treasure. Caesar must not see your weakness first. He must see your courage. He must believe you walked into his presence, not as a supplicant, but as a ruler staking claim to her destiny. The thought steers something within you. Imagine the moment, the roll unfurled, the heavy folds falling away, and there you are, Cleopatra, unveiled before the conqueror of Rome. The image is almost theatrical, like a story told by poets. And yet, it is not fantasy. It is your reality, as fragile as the oil lamp flame trembling in the draught. You lean forward, clasping your hands together. Tell me again what I must do when I stand before him. Apollodorus lowers his voice. You will not kneel. You will not beg. You will look him in the eyes as an equal, and you will remind him that Egypt is not a land to be carved up. You are its queen, and you offer him alliance, loyalty, and charm. At the last word, his eyes flicker, as though reluctant to say it. But you know what he means. You know the rumors that cling to Julius Caesar like a shadow. Brilliant strategist, ruthless general, but also a man of appetites. A man not immune to beauty or boldness. You straighten, breathing deeply. If he expects a trembling girl, I will not give him one. If he expects a seductress, I will give him something greater, a queen who knows her worth. Still, an ease gnaws at you. You murmur, almost to yourself. And if he laughs? If he sends me back to Ptolemene chains? Then I will cut you free before they can touch you. Apollodorus replies with fierce certainty. But you will not fail. You cannot. Cleopatra, you have always been more than your brother, more than the scheming advisors who whisper in his ear. You have fire. Caesar will see it. His conviction steadies you more than your own resolve. You nod, fingers brushing the golden cobra as your necklace, its tiny emerald eyes glittering in the lamplight. I must not falter. I must make him see not just a woman, but Egypt itself in my eyes. The hours creep toward dawn. Plans are whispered, practiced. The handmaidens rehearse how to fold you tightly into the rug, how to carry it on Apollodorus' shoulders without suspicion. Each movement must be perfect. Any stumble, any hesitation could spell disaster. At one point, one of the women breaks the silence. "My queen, what if the Roman soldiers grow suspicious? They may demand to see what lies within." Apollodorus tightens his jaw. Then they will see tribute. Rugs, gifts, tokens of loyalty. Romance are greedy. They will not think twice about a rich gift for the general. But you know, greed is not your true disguise. Your true disguise is audacity itself. Who would dare imagine the exiled queen of Egypt bound up in a rug, delivered to Caesar's very chamber? As the practice continues, your thoughts drift inward again. You remember the marble corridor of Alexandria, the cool echo of footsteps, as you once walked them with your head high. You remember debates with scholars, the study of languages, the thrill of knowing you could charm with words as easily as others wield swords. That was the Cleopatra you were born to be. This exile, banishment, dust under your nails is not your destiny. When they finally finish rehearsing, Apollodorus looks at you gravely. We go at first light. The palace will steer then, soldiers and servants alike, and we can move unnoticed among the commotion. Are you ready? You hesitate, only for a heartbeat, and then you whisper, "I have been ready since the day they stripped me of my throne." He bows, but his eyes gleam with something more than respect. Perhaps awe, perhaps fear, perhaps both. As the lamps gutter low, you lie back on the couch, though sleep does not come. Your mind rehearses the scene again and again. The smuggling, the unfurling, Caesar's gaze locking onto yours. Would he see a desperate girl? Or would he see a queen, cloaked in daring, destined to stand beside him? When dawn comes, you know the world will tilt. One roll of linen, one heartbeat of courage, and your fate, and Egypt's, will be forever altered. Night had fallen over Alexandria, and with it came a silence that felt heavier than the Egyptian heat itself. The streets near the royal palace were still lit by flickering oil lamps, their flames trembling in the sea breeze drifting off the harbor. Beneath those wavering shadows, a dangerous game was about to unfold. You lay hidden within the thick fold of a rolled carpet. Some said it was fine Syrian wool. Others claimed it was nothing more than a bedding sack. Whatever the material, it smelled faintly of dust and spice, and its weave pressed harshly against your skin. Every breath a careful ration. You dared not shift too much, for even the faintest tear might give you away. Your heart hammered in your chest, louder than the muffled footsteps you could hear outside. The weight of your decision pressed down harder than the fabric. This was no mere whim, no girlish fancy to meet the famous Roman general. This was survival. If you failed tonight, you would remain a discarded queen, locked in exile, while your brother and husband both, as Egyptian custom demanded, ruled in your place under the watchful hand of his advisors. You could not let that stand. Cleopatra, you had always known you were more capable than Ptolemy the 13th. You was young, spoiled, malleable, a boy surrounded by older men who whispered commands into his ear. You, in contrast, had been born with both the hunger of ambition and the wit to feed it. You understood what your people needed, and more importantly, you understood what men desired. Men want to be flattered, feared, admired, and obeyed, often all at once. You smiled faintly to yourself in the darkness. Julius Caesar was said to be no exception. You had heard whispers of him, brilliant, ruthless, insatiable for power, and, like all men, susceptible to beauty, charm, and the suggestion of intimacy. You would not meet him as a supplicant, nor as a frightened exile, but a vision he could not easily dismiss. The carpet shifted as Apollodorus, your loyal Sicilian servant, hefted it onto his shoulder. Through the muffled layers, you felt the sway of his steps, each one measured and cautious. Outside, the palace guards barked commands, their voices sharp in the night air. Who goes there? One challenged. Apollodorus answered smoothly, his voice calm, even casual. A gift for the Roman general, Egyptian linens, the finest for his rest. There was a pause. Your breath is caught. You picture the guard's suspicious eyes narrowing, the torchlight lifting to scan the bundle. You would not wish to delay Caesar's comfort, would you? A grunt of assent, the shuffle of feet, the thud of a spear butt on stone. The way was cleared. You let your lungs feel once more, though the air inside the carpet was warm and dry, scratching at your throat Each movement was a battle between patience and panic. Yet, you forced your thoughts back to the plan. You could not falter now. Men, you reminded yourself, were drawn not only to beauty, but to boldness. If you appeared timid, Caesar might dismiss you as another ornament, no different than the jewels and silks already flooding his chambers. But if you appeared daring, if you placed yourself directly in his path, showing wit and audacity, then he would remember you. He would be intrigued. And intrigue was the first step toward favor. The journey through the palace stretched on like a lifetime. The sound of sandals scuffing stone floors, the creak of wooden doors, the echo of Apollodora's steady breathing. Every noise heightened the tension. You imagined the halls filled with Roman banners, the scent of foreign soldiers lingering in the air. This was no longer your brother's palace. It was Caesar's now. At last, footsteps slowed. A heavy door opened. The carpet was set down gently upon cool marble. You sensed the shift of torchlight above you, the hush of voices receding, and then silence. A moment passed. Another. You waited, poised like a coiled serpent. Then came the sound. The scrape of fabric, the pull of hands. The carpet began to unroll. The coils loosened. Light pierced the darkness, and the air grew fresh and cool. You stretched slowly, deliberately, your body unfolding along with the rug, until at last you emerged, kneeling upon the polished floor. There he was, Julius Caesar himself. The Roman general stood tall, though not young. His face marked by lines of both age and ambition. His eyes, sharp and calculating, widened for just an instant at the sight before him. A young queen, unveiled from her strange cocoon, her hair glimmering with perfumed oil, her gaze direct and unflinching. You let the faint smile touch your lips, a mixture of humility and defiance. You lowered your head, only briefly, enough to show respect. But when you lifted it again, your eyes locked onto his with quiet fire. "My Lord Caesar," you said softly, your voice like warm honey in the chamber. "I am Cleopatra, rightful Queen of Egypt. I have come to place myself under your protection." The silence that followed was thick. Caesar studied you his expression unreadable. But you knew men. You saw the flicker of amusement tug at the corner of his mouth, the glimmer of curiosity in his eyes. You had gambled everything on this moment, and you could already sense that your boldness has caught its mark. For men like Caesar, power was the sweetest wine. And here you were, not begging, but offering yourself as ally, as partner, as something more than another trembling supplicant. Inside, your heart still pounded, but outwardly you exuded calm, confidence, allure. You had made your entrance not as a victim of exile, but as a woman of daring, a queen who knew how to play the game of power. And in that moment, you realized you had captivated him. You sit very still, heart still beating from the daring gamble of being carried through guarded corridors, rolled inside a rug. The room is dim, the oil lamps flickering in soft, golden halos against the plaster walls. Caesar has unrolled you. His eyes, sharp and assessing, had widened for a moment when you first emerged. But now, they narrow with a soldier's discipline, studying you as one would study a strange, rare treasure. You bow your head gracefully, not groveling, but acknowledging the balance of power. You know men like him, conquerors, accustomed to obedience, intoxicated by flattery. If you plead too quickly, you will become just another supplicant. Instead, you decide to surprise him. "General," you said softly, your voice like silk drawn through fingers. "I have come not with armies, nor gold, but with myself, the last guard Egypt holds." He does not answer right away. Instead, he pours wine into a shallow Roman cup and gestures for you to sit upon a cushioned stool nearby. He studies you, perhaps deciding whether you are foolhardy or brilliant. You meet his gaze evenly. You want him to see not only your beauty, but your mind. To break the silence, you tilt your head, your dark hair cascading over your shoulder. You have gone so far, across seas and deserts. Tell me, is Alexandria pleasing to Roman eyes? It is a safe beginning, a question that flatters him as the seasoned traveler, the man of taste and judgment. He smiles faintly, his lips tugging upward, and for the first time you glimpse the warmth beneath the iron. "Alexandria," he says, his Latin accent curling around the Greek words, is unlike any city of the world. Even Rome, with her marble forums and temples, is not so bright, not so open to the sea. You feel a flush of pride, even though Alexandria has burned you, driven you into exile. Still, it is your city, your inheritance. You smile wistfully. She is a jewel, is she not? Yet a jewel can be split, broken between unworthy hands. That is what my brother has done. His eyes sharpen again. He does not miss the veiled accusation. But you do not linger on it. You shift the conversation again, lightly, almost playfully. And Rome, you press. What is she like? You must tell me. I have only heard whispers. A city of stone. 1,000 voices shouting. Senators in white robes, all straining to match the will of one man. He chuckles, and you realize you've pricked at his pride again. Rome is order, born from chaos. She is stubborn, proud, greedy. She takes what she wants, yet she binds her citizens with law. Rome is eternal. The word eternal hangs between you, heavy and alluring. You lean forward slightly, as though you are a child begging for a story. And you, Caesar, what does Rome mean to you? His expression shifts, just for a heartbeat. Softer, more personal. As a general, as a statesman, I have given my life to her. And she, in turn, has given me both loyalty and betrayal. But she is mine. I will not see her fall to cowards and fools. You watch him closely. His words reveal much. The loneliness of command, the hunger for loyalty, not just as a soldier, but as Rome incarnate. You file it away in your mind. Every strength, every wound you can turn to your advantage. The wine is rich on your tongue when you sip it. You let the silence stretch before you speak again. Then you and I are alike. You murmur, eyes downcast, but voice steady. For Alexandria is mine, though she, too, has betrayed me. Brothers who plot, courtiers who whisper, my city longs for a steady hand. I would give her that, if only I had Rome's favor. It is not a plea, not yet. It is an invitation. And you can see by the way Caesar leans back, stroking his chin, that he recognizes it. He does not answer your veiled request, not directly, Instead, he launches into stories of campaigns in Gaul, of the Senate's endless jealousies. His Latin sometimes thickens, but you follow closely, filling in gaps with your knowledge of Greek. Each word is another brushstroke in the portrait of a man, ruthless, brilliant, ambitious, but also tired, wearied by the constant need to prove himself. And you listen as if Rome itself is being sung into your ears. The marble forums, the triumphal processions, the libraries and temples. You close your eyes for a moment and imagine it, yourself there, not as an exile or supplicant, but standing beside him, gazing out at the eternal city as though it were yours too. You feel a flutter in your chest, not of girlish infatuation, but of vision. For the first time, you can see beyond the Nile, beyond the deserts of Egypt. If you can bind this man to you, if you can earn not only his desire, but his loyalty, the world will open before you. You meet his gaze again, and you smile, a smile full of secrets, of promises unspoken. Little by little, you are no longer simply a queen in exile, begging for help. You are becoming his equal in this room, a partner in ambition, a mirror of Rome's greatness. And as the night deepens, though the shadows lengthen and the lamps grow low, your thoughts remain bright, alive, hungry. Rome. You must see Rome. And if Julius Caesar is the road that leads you there, then you will not falter. The lamps have burned lower, and the shadows in the chamber stretch long and uncertain, flickering across carved columns and silk-draped couches. The air is thick with incense, sandalwood, cinnamon, and the faintest trace of lotus. It is not accidental. You insisted that Apollodorus and your handmaid scatter these perfumes before you were brought here. A woman's power in Egypt, it has always begun with scent, to intoxicate before a word is spoken. Julius Caesar reclines across from you, his body wrapped in a Roman tunic of plain white. The simplicity of his garment only sharpens the impression of authority. He is not a man who needs jewels to remind the world of his power. His victories are his adornments. He has been speaking still of Rome, of campaigns, of betrayals and loyalties. But now, his voice has softened, almost amused. You are bold, Cleopatra, he says, his eyes lingering on you. Few women, even queens, would dare to risk themselves in such a way? Rolled into a carpet, delivered into my chambers, as though you trusted me not to toss you into the Nile. The words might sting. Let you smile instead, letting the corners of your lips rise, your lashes lowering in the practiced art of modesty. I trusted Caesar because I have been taught that Rome admires boldness, and that her greatest men cannot resist daring when it comes wrapped in beauty. It is a dangerous thing to say, but you say it lightly, as though it is a jest. His laugh confirms you struck the right chord, and yet, beneath your calm, your heart beats furiously. You remember every lesson whispered by older women in your household. That seduction is not a surrender, but a weapon, as sharp as a soldier's blade. Queens before you wielded it. Why should you not? Still, there is awkwardness beneath your poise. You have never lain with a man like him, older, hardened, carrying the weight of an empire on his shoulders. He is not handsome in the way poets describe, but there is something magnetic in the lines of his face, the authority in his voice. This is no boy king or fickle prince. This is Rome, and Rome must be conquered, not with armies, but with you. A servant enters silently, bearing a tray of figs, honeyed wine, and roasted quail. Caesar waves him off with a flicker of his hand, and suddenly the chamber is quieter than before. The world has shrunk to the two of you. You lean forward, taking one of the figs delicately, breaking its skin with your fingers, the juice staining them a dark red. You bring it to your lips slowly, knowing full well the power of a lingering gesture. His eyes followed you, though he masks it with a sip of a wine. Tell me, you murmur, in Rome, do queens dine with generals, or only beg them for favor? His lips curve, and he sets his cup down. In Rome, Cleopatra, there are no queens, only men who command, and women who obey. It should make you tremble, but instead, you let a faint laugh slip from your lips. Then Rome has never known a woman worth obeying. The words hang in the air, reckless and shining. You see his eyes flash, not in anger, but in intrigue. He leans closer, studying you as one might study an opponent across a battlefield. The silence between you thickens until you feel it pressing against your skin. This is the moment. the delicate crossing from conversation into something heavier, more binding. You let your hand brush against his as you reach for the wine. Just a grace, not deliberate. His hand stills for a moment, then shifts, not withdrawing. Your breath quickens, though you hide it. Inside, your thoughts clash. Will he see you as a desperate girl, or a queen of Egypt who dares to stand equal with Rome? Every lesson returns to you. The oils rubbed into your skin, the call that darkens your eyes, the silks draped about your body. You were prepared like a weapon, and now is the moment to strike. You rise slowly, carrying the cup of wine, and step toward him. The hem of your gown brushes against the mosaic floor, whispering with each step. You kneel just slightly to hand him the cup, not in submission, but in offering. His hand takes it, his eyes fixed on yours, and you feel the pool between you tighten. The night deepens. The chamber grows warm. And though you are filled with unease, with the weight of knowing that your future depends on his pleasure, you steady your heart. You remind yourself that this is not mere flesh. This is politics, survival, destiny. When his hands finally brushes your arm, when he draws you closer, the awkwardness comes rushing in, but you push it aside. You cannot allow fear to master you. Recall the words whispered by your tutors. A queen of Egypt does not yield. She guides. She makes the man believe he conquers, even as he falls into her snare. So you lift your chin, meeting Caesar's gaze, not as a trembling girl, but as Cleopatra, daughter of Ptolemy, rightful queen of Egypt. And though the night will demand much of you, though you will be tested in ways that make your heart race and your body tremble, you vow silently, this is not surrender. This is the first victory. The chamber was bathed in golden light. Slender beams of dawn filtered through the latticed windows, painting long stripes across the marble floor and spilling onto the bed where you steered. The silks tangled around your body still held the warmth of last night's embrace. You did not move immediately. Instead, you lingered, savoring the moment. For the first time in months, perhaps years, you felt secure. No shadow of exile hovered at your shoulder. No whispered betrayal from siblings or courtiers haunted your ears. You turned your head slightly, gazing at Julius Caesar as he slept beside you. His chest rose and fell with a steady rhythm, his face calm, but still marked by the lines of age and command. He looked less like the conqueror of Gaul, less like the general who had marched legions across the Rubicon, and more like a man, flesh and blood, vulnerable in repose. It pleased you, this vision. The great Caesar, rendered human. And yet, you knew, when he woke, the aura of power would settle upon him again, like a cloak. You slipped from the bed, drawing a sheet about yourself, and crossed the room. Outside, the sounds of Alexandria awakening drifted faintly into the chamber. Merchants calling, donkeys braying, the faint lap of water against the quay. This city, your city, still pulsed with life, and it was waiting for you. You stood tall, chin lifted. The night before had not been merely pleasure. It had been strategy. Every glance, every touch, every word exchanged had been deliberate. Seduction was never about surrender. Not for you. It was conquest of a different kind. And now, the time had come to seize the fruits of your gamble. A low stir from the bed broke your thoughts. Caesar's voice, gravelly from sleep, filled the air. Cleopatra. You turned. His eyes were open now, sharp despite the hour. He studied you as though weighing you anew. You are already planning, he said, a half smile on his lips. Of course, you replied softly, stepping closer. Queens do not have the luxury of idle mornings. He chuckled, upping himself against the cushions. Then tell me, what do you plan to do? And what would you have me do? There it was, the invitation you had been waiting for. He was powerful, yes, but not omniscient. He needed you to chart the path in Egypt, a land whose pulse only you understood. My brother is young, but he is no fool. He surrounds himself with cunning advisors who seek only their own advantage. They whisper poison into your ears. As long as they stand, I cannot reclaim my throne. But Egypt cannot survive this chaos. The Nile does not wait for quarrels. The people hunger for stability. They will follow the rightful queen if she is restored, and if Rome's most powerful general stands at her side. You stepped closer to him, eyes fixed on his. I will face my brother. I will face Pothinos and Achilles, and every snake that coils around the boy king. But I need your legions, Caesar. You will not fight my battle for me. You will only clear the path. I will do the rest. For a moment, silence stretched between you. The air was thick with the weight of your declaration. Then Caesar laughed, low and approving. By the gods, you remind me of myself. Bold, unafraid, a gambler who plays for the highest stakes. He reached for you, his hands closing around yours. Very well. Rome will lend its sword, but you will lend me your vision. Together, we will carve order out of this chaos. A surge of triumph coursed through you. This was more than an alliance. It was recognition. He did not see you as a supplicant, but as a partner. The balance of power was delicate, yes, but for now, it tilted in your favor. You let the sheet slide slightly from your shoulder. A deliberate gesture, not to tempt, but to remind him that beauty and power could reside in the same vessel. You sang gracefully beside him, your hair spilling like dark silk across his chest. You will not regret this, you whispered. One day, you will see me not only as Queen of Egypt, but as the woman who gave you the Nile's loyalty. He smiled, closing his eyes briefly as though envisioning it. Then, let us begin today. Summon your allies. I will summon my generals. By sunset, the city will know that Cleopatra has risen again. Your heart swelled, though you did not let it show. Outwardly, you remained composed, serene. Every inch the queen you claimed to be. But within, you blazed with determination. Last night, you had been an exile, hidden in the shadows, smuggled through danger in a roll of carpet. Today, sunlight crowned you. Today, you began your reign.